This is a review for a program by Magix called Audio Cleaner Pro. It's available for Windows and Mac, and this is a Pro version. There is a standard version as well. First off, let's click this to align the window a little bit better. Now you can either click here to import a pre-existing audio file. You can click here to bring up a recording dialog box where you can record your audio as well. And you can go to advanced and select if it's a voice you're recording, digital, or if it's an old vinyl tape, things like a vinyl or a tape, things like that. You can select save into individual files. You can also select some formats here in stereo or mono and select what the audio device is that you're recording from. You can also import a CD here. So if you have a music CD, you can import it. You can choose to add auto crossfades or import the CD track number as well. Let's just open an audio file a minute. Okay, this is what it looks like with an audio file open. You have your basic waveform like you would expect here. You also have this bit up here, which is just navigation to get to the end or the beginning of a file or somewhere in between. This is the actual editing part here. If you see these little bits here, this is to drag the volume bar up and down to raise or lower the volume. And you can go down here, and at the moment it's select to edit mouse mode. You can then also select to cut as well. So I can go here and cut it into several parts. I can go here and resample and retime. I can go here and it's a delete mouse mode. So there, the whole of that section's gone. I can undo using Command Z. It probably will be Control Z if you're on Windows. And I can go here, which is a volume draw mode. So I can click here, maybe click in the middle of those two I made. Then let me just get my mouse pointer back, and I can just draw those sort of points I want, and then I can raise just a section of the audio or lower it like that. Very handy. Not all programs have this, and I find it quite useful. Then I have a wave draw mode. I haven't really experimented much with that, to be honest. So let's undo. Next we have edit the spectrum directly. So I can edit the spectrum here. Let's just cancel that. Now I'm going to go back to my normal pointer and undo a minute. Now I've undone, I'm showing the spectral view over here. So let's just go to something like, let's just untick it, I mean. Right, now, if we have a look next, after that, you then have a marker. So we can go, let's say here, add a marker. Here, add a marker. Here, add a marker. Use the drop down and you can select some different options here, such as set track marker, select a pause marker, select a track marker automatically, set a track marker to object edges, delete all your markers. Yes, I want to do that, and then they're all gone. You can delete CD track marker, track agent, measurement units from here as well. So you can select track markers, and you could have distinguish different CD tracks that way as well if you're making a CD. You have undo and redo here. You then have your basic options like you'd expect: rewind, fast forward, stop, play, record, loop. Here you get to your different views, stereo or not. In this case I'm going to have it unticked actually because it is a mono file I'm opened. Then you have volume, and you get another bar here for your volume. Let's turn that off. Then you have two tracks. So if you're working with stereo, you would have your two different tracks like that. Then you have your spectral view, which is handy. Then you have your master volume here. You then have auto for normalization. Cannot normalize volume without playback peak data at the moment, so let's just leave that. then you have a limiter here as well. So it does have a limiter built in. Now, once you have got your file in and all that, you don't really want to be on this screen probably anymore. So you then go to the tab for cleaning over here. This is where you really start to clean up your audio, especially if you are have imported an old file, such an old vinyl recording that you've digitalized. You can declip it, decrackle it here. You can dehiss it to get rid of any hissing sort of sound. You can do your standard denoise and declipping and declicker. You can apply it to the whole project or objects here. Now, as you can see, it's highlighted all the waveform in yellow, but you might say, well, what's the point in that? Well, if we were to go back here to split, okay, now we have the file split into parts. With it on object mode, we can select, say, okay, we want to just add declicker to that second portion, and if you have object selected, it will only affect that what it calls object or region or whatever. If you had project selected, it's going to do it to the whole thing, both parts. So it's handy that you can go to object and just apply different sort of effects, or even if you had both, even if you had denoise to both parts, you could have it under object. You could have different sort of settings and tweak it to how each region is best suited. So when you want to say put on denoise, you can go here and you can apply various presets. So you could say, just let's get rid of 50 hertz hums or 60 hertz hums. Or you could say, okay, I've got a vinyl record or cassette here and I want to derumble and use a weak setting or a strong setting by default. Or you can go to laptop noise, remove some common noise that you pick up from a fan on your laptop, video camera, things like that. You can turn it on here. You can adjust the amount with this dial, how much of that effect you want to apply. You can then go to settings and get the whole full dialogue up. So what you do here is you go to noise sample for denoising. You then click here and select various presets, or you can select noise print automatic. Now what you do here, say you have 5 seconds of no speaking at the beginning or no music, you've got 5 seconds of just noise. You can then say, okay, dial it in here, say the first 5 seconds it's got to use that as its noise print, or in this case like 250 milliseconds or auto. Then you can get it to use that as your noise print to remove noise in your project. You can also go here for a few audio types such as speech, preset down here as well. You can then under processing do anti-noise or anti-hum. You might want anti-noise really, more often than not. You can derumble here as well. You can dial in how much noise reduction you want to use, a noise level here, and then basically you click OK to apply it. There's also a wizard, so you can dial in the length here, or range length of range length or internal standard length. So that's basically your auto mode there. Or you can, like say, you can dial it in milliseconds here. You can take the noise print from the range at the start or play cursor, so you can get it to take it from where your cursor starts, or have it do a search and take it from the position with small level. Search options, object start or range start or play cursor, or to the end of the whole end of the object. So if you've cut a region out of just noise, you can tell it to use the whole of that object as a noise print, basically. You can then name the noise print here and hit OK. I'm just going to hit OK to that, hit OK there. And it's very similar sort of stuff for your other things like dehiss. Very similar sort of dialogue and options there. Your declicker. Again, they have their own presets as well. Decrackler has its own preset there. Your strength, very sort of self-explanatory really. And let's go to declipper. Again, I think it's pretty obvious what to do there. You can also click down here to cleaning agent. This will, when you pull up the cleaning agent, it will have a look at the audio and try to figure out what sort of settings you might want to use automatically. In this case, it sort of said, well, I don't think you need dehissing. I don't think you need a denoiser, but you could perhaps do with 30% light on decrackler, declicker. You can then listen to the original and then listen to it, the results of what its automatic settings are to hear if it sounds okay, and then apply it, or you do step by step and go for it yourself, listening to results and original on each of the tabs. So what I would recommend is you go here for your noise reduction, listen if it sounds okay, just use its presets. Mastering is where you can get to a bit more of the advanced sort of stuff. You're going beyond now just cleaning up a bit of noise. You're going to things like the equalizer here. You can equalize for the voice, and you can bring up an actual equalizer. So here we can start off, there's a 6-band equalizer by the way, and we can select remove wind noise, loudness, telephone, super this, boost the bass, all sorts of things like that. But let's try dialing in some of our own. So we can go to something like that. We can go here, and you know what I'm going to do? You can manually dial in the figures. So let's say for 150 frequency, I'm going to have a Q, which is kind of like the quality in a way, of 2. And I'm going to put the gain at around about 7. Now, I'm not an expert on EQing, and I'm not an audiophile, but if you are doing a voiceover and you are male and you might want to boost your bass in your voice a bit, you want to go to around about the 150 to 200, I think, frequency, and add a bit of gain there in the EQ to boost a bit of bass in your voice. Now, my suggestion here, perhaps for a future version, is it would be nice if these things were color coded like in some other equalizers, like the one that deals with sort of the bassy parts might be red in some equalizers, and it will be the wave sort of form here will be red, and also if it will say mid-tones, I think it might be like an orange color. So it helps, especially somebody new to equalizers, sort of figure out which of these do what, and makes navigating the EQ a little easier. You have master gain over here as well. Down here you do have a 10-band equalizer, so we can actually turn that straight off here and just use the 10-band. And then this is a little easier to figure out what you're doing. You could say, okay, well, there's no 150 here, but let's go for 170 and raise it up in that area. Then we can basically play back and hear if it sounds right. If not, we can go back here and adjust it again. You could try something like that, then apply it, then play it. Then if it isn't quite what you want, just go back to it. And if you make a complete and utter mess, you can always reset down here. Over here, it's basically special effects. So let's take a look. If you have a look at a preset, it is things like stereo image replace the right signal with the left signal. You can switch the stereo channels. You can invert left phase. You can change distribution in karaoke. You can raise the left by 6 decibels, or raise the right by 6 decibels, or lower the right by 6. You can expand the stereo weak or strong, move central sounds to the right, optimize stereo image for speech, widen speech, bandwidth, left channel only, right channel only, that sort of thing there. Multi-band, it is a multi-band sort of equalizer thing here as well, and you've got left and right here to adjust pan direction. Let's just cancel that and look at next, Brilliance. So we have standard, where we can refresh MP3 pop files. In other words, if you've got pop music saved as MP3 file, you can refresh it, MP3, 128 kilohertz. You've got refresh MP3s, high quality, refresh a tape recording, an old vinyl recording, or make techno songs sound a little more lively. Down here at the bottom left, we have dynamics. You have here boost voice volume more. So if you're doing a voiceover, you can boost your voice. Or if you even have got a piece of music where you have somebody singing, you can perhaps boost the voice out of the, so it isn't muffled by the music. You can raise the voice a little. There's also some more here, such as weak volume boost or a very strong voice boost. There is a limiter here for avoid overmodulation. There's automatic levels for classical, pop, or very noisy music. There's enhanced dynamics for MP3s and music, cut off noise and cut off strong noise. Let's just put it on, and then we can go here and we can dial in the threshold, the attack, the ratio, the release, the gain. Presets are here again. We can turn it off from here and on. Let's just okay that. Then we have a multi-max. Basically, you have for a start a DeNoiser setting, a de-esser. Now, what a de-esser is when you say words with a lot of S's in, like S's, it kind of hisses like a snake, where you can reduce that a little bit. You can reduce some of that strong hissing sound. Weak volume boost, strong volume boost, stronger volume boost, optimize for car stereo, party sound for techno songs, add a little bit more sub bass, add more presence or treble, a NRB decoder for cassettes, and like I said, DEs weak or strong. Let's just turn that weak de-esser on. And once we have the de-esser on, we can then adjust the lows, mids, and highs here as well. Reverb and echo is not really for voiceovers, that is more for songs and music. You add a little reverb, a little sort of echoey effect on the voice. You have a small room, you can simulate a couple types of small rooms, a medium-sized room, a large hall, or even a cathedral. You can create an echo effect for studio reverb or a spring reverb, or create a surround sound effect, which is quite interesting. So you could select something like that, go here, adjust the size, color, time, and mix. Select delay here if you want a delay. You can select a delay and its feedback and its mix here. Each have their own presets like robot-like, and the same presets I showed you a minute ago are available from there as well. Then you can OK and go turn it off. Let's have a look at the menu bar. Of course, this will not be up here if you're on Windows. It will be more integrated into the actual program. You have your standard new and load project, save project, load an audio file, load a CD, or record directly into the program. You can export from here, such as export to WAV, MP3, add it to iTunes, AAC, OGG, Vorbis, or AIFF. You can delete all project files, view recent files. Edit is all pretty much self-explanatory, such as undo, redo, set marker, cut, copy, and paste. You can also do a few extra things, such as remove pauses. You can also load some special effects settings and save them there as well. You can also apply all real-time effects. You can get to your effects from here, so you can normalize object volume. So you can normalize and you can dial in the amount, or you could say, okay, I want to normalize to 0.1, which is what some people quite often do. Though for some reason I can't seem to put in a dot to add that. So the best you might be able to do is -1. Then the amount in percentage. Peak change, you can do there, you can normalize only the selected object or objects individually or unified. So you can do something like that. There we go, you can see the waveform has changed. Loudness adjustment, target volume, and adjustment level in percentage, that's just cancel. You can get to the cleaning options here, including remove DC offset. Frequency filter is your equalizer and brilliance enhancer there, your dynamics and your multi-max, your echo and reverb, your stereo and phase and your stereo FX, your modulation and special, which is just at the moment reverse. You can get to CD options here for adding track markers there, or delete the CD track, create a CD from there, or track agent, or print a CD track list. You can get to some options such as your edit mouse. You can then switch to cut mouse mode or zoom mouse mode, or like that. And it does show you the shortcut. So edit is V, zoom is Z, delete is F. Resampling mode there, draw mode, you can get to all your modes here. You can get to your two track or stereo view, spectral view, which is basically all the stuff which is on the main interface anyway. There is also playback parameters. You can select what device is your playback device. If it's not outputting to the right thing, you can change it here. Select your kind of quality here. Select the playback buffer there and loop time, play loop, stop, and let's just close that. You can change your units of measurement here from hours, minutes, seconds to say milliseconds or CD frames or samples. You can display value scale here, options for track marker recognition. So it can try to recognize tracks from CDs, things like that. Online is to open your online album, to open the media marketplace, to open the website maker page, because it basically has just an advertisement for another program they do, which is to build your own website. You can also go to magix.info here, which is basically a forum and community. From here, you can look at the help file, open the manual, disable or enable tooltips, watch tutorial video, register the program online, update, basically just to check if there's any new versions available, like 1.4 or whatever. The version that is the latest version at the time of making this video, which I am using, is 1.0.3, and that is the latest at the time of making this video. Preferences is very basic. You just select where you want your project files to be stored by default. Go to export and you'll find the similar sort of options are available here. You can export as a WAV file or other formats. If you do that, you get this dialog. You select the format that you want from this drop down. Then if the format allows it, you can select settings and customize it a bit more, such as high quality encoder or just fast encoding, and your bitrate here as well in stereo mono. Some, such as WAV, won't let you do that for whatever reason. You can then select options, all tracks in one file, or track only at the current play position. MP3 files is exactly the same. It just gets that same dialog up, but with MP3 file selected automatically. You can export iTunes from here as well. And audio CD is to burn an audio CD. So you can burn your CD straight from within the program. You can select a CD title. Track agent, you can select all the tracks here and add ID3 tags to them. Use auto numbering as well, and add up various other information. So what would I like to see added or changed in this? Well, actually not much. I think it's a very good program. It is available on Windows and Mac. On Mac as well, it is available from the Mac App Store, not just directly from Magix website. The strange thing is, at the time of making this video, it's actually a lot cheaper to get it on the Mac App Store. It's about £15, I think, on the Mac App Store. If you get it, though, directly from Magix, it's like $40, which would be something like probably £30. So it is more expensive directly from Magix, which is odd because quite often companies will make things either the same on the Mac App Store, or they'll make it a little bit more expensive because Apple takes a cut of the profits, of course, which is only to be expected. For some reason, it's a lot cheaper on the Mac App Store. So basically, if you plan on buying this, check both sources first. Check Magix themselves, see what they charge, check the Mac App Store, see what that's still going at. So this is a very good program especially if you want to do a lot of cleaning up of old audio, such as old vinyl or cassette tapes. If you digitalize them and want to clean them up. Another good use for this would be perhaps a podcaster, and you could go into this, clean up your podcast, even use your de-esser to clean it up. And also, in fact, you wouldn't, as far as I can tell, you wouldn't really need to use another program, because it does even record, even though it's a program just to open your MP3 or whatever and clean up a bit of noise, you can actually record directly into it. So a podcaster could go in this program, hit record their podcast, clean it up, export it, and go. There's only two suggestions I really have for it. One is, because you can do the whole of, say, a podcast in this, it would be good if there was more ID3 tags for exporting, such as picking like the genre, say podcast or spoken word or music genre, and then add in all your things like your title, your artist, episode number, whatever, and add in a cover image or poster file to it as well for when you export into, say, MP3. So I would like to see an ID3 editor in this to edit your track and file information when you export. I would also quite like to see plugin support. It's not 100% necessary, but I would like to be able to use third-party plugins, such as on Mac audio units or on Windows VSTs and whatever else they may have on Windows. So you could select, say, under cleaning or perhaps mastering, you could select another noise gate if you got one you've installed and prefer, or if you have a plugin for cleaning up vocals a bit more, such as Wave Arts, Dialogue, or plugin alliances, Voice Enhancer. You could select it, bring up its dialogue, and do some further adjustments. It is also something they could add just to the Audio Cleaner Pro and not the standard one, and that would be another incentive for people to buy the Pro version of this. So yes, I would highly recommend it. I think it's a great program for cleaning up audio and perhaps even for podcasters, just to do the whole lot in. So thanks for watching. Please like and share this video. If you could do me a huge favor and subscribe, as it only take a second and will help me out a lot. Thanks.